Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. Thanks for tuning in. Those of you that have delved into Chinese pens may recognize this box. It's the Wingsung 698, the first wow pen that I got that really drove home the fact that the Chinese were doing something unique and fun with their pens and really pushing the boundaries. So when I saw this one with a medium nib, in kind of like a translucent charcoal or black color, I said, let me try this out. Let me see if I can see what's different between this new 2018 model and the previous one. Inside you have the standard packaging, which has been consistent, I think, since the 698 came out, with a tube of silicone gel there for taking it apart. And it is easy to take apart if you need to clean it or lubricate the piston and screw mechanism. That's fine. So inside are instructions, all in Chinese. I don't know whether there's an international global version of this pen that has instructions not in Chinese, but there's a lot of illustrations on the other side which show you the parts of the pen, how to fill it, how to put on silicone grease, which is really, to me, very nice, and also flushing it out, showing you taking that, unscrewing the section so you can totally flush the nib and feed out. So that's really nice. You may ask, what's new about this 2018 Wingsung 698? I'd have to say, I don't know. Everything I can look at looks the same between the two pens. I haven't taken it apart to see if there's something different in the piston filler, but you know, I'm not in the mood. I inked it up and it writes great, so there's no need to play around with it. This is one that I've had in my daily writer since I first inked it up, and it's written first time every time, and it has a fine nib, which I would say is more like extra fine, but we're going to write with this and take a look at it. You know, to me, the black and gold is just a classic combination. I mean, black and silver is also a great combination. So there are people that like one over the other. I happen to enjoy both. I think the black and silver, to me, is a more refined and less flashy statement than the black and gold, but that's just my personal opinion. And here's a clear version, which also I've had inked up for a while. But if we open this up, we'll notice something that's different about this one. It has a nice clear feed, and it also has a medium nib, or at least it writes like a medium nib. So let's put nib to paper and see how these nibs compare against each other. You may ask, how is this finial held together? As you can see, there's this flat-headed screw at the bottom which goes in there and holds everything together. Unlike some of the other Chinese designs, I've never had the screw rust or corrode, so my guess is it's probably made of some type of corrosion resistance material, maybe stainless steel. Well, one thing all the 698s have in common is this chiseled finial at the top of the cap. It's a love or hate situation, but I'm fairly neutral on it. You don't usually see it very often as you look at the pen from the side. The engraving in the cap band is always done very nicely. And of course the blind cap is the same. It pulls off. So one of the things that I had not noticed before is on the blind cap are little arrows which correspond to the little nibs which fit into the opening in the locking cap here. So something interesting I had not noticed before on these pens. Yeah, it's in the clear version too. Amazing. I've never seen that before until I started looking at these pens to try to figure out what was different between the new and the old version. I'd be remiss if I didn't show how to use the piston filling mechanism. You can see there's a little indent there. You need to pull this cap out, and then you can turn the piston up and down, and then when you're done, it locks in place and it keeps it secure. That's one of the nice things about this design. This is the first pen that I saw that had that. Brought out the trusty LED to take a look at this smoky colored resin used for this 698. Can't see much where the ink is. You can see a little bit of that piston mechanism and a little bit through the blind cap. So what ink to put into it? This one jumped out at me from the Pelican Hub Olivini. It's a really nice green ink. Here's my color card. Not a lot of shading, no real sheen, but a very nice intense green. As we can see from the chromatography, very intense green. And then you have this little patch of blue at the very top. So I guess it is a little bit of a blue-green. Let's see how it looks on paper. So one thing about the 698, it's just an unscrew cap. About a turn to unscrew. You can see those threads are pretty coarse, so that gives it that quick unturn. It fits well in the hand, unposted. It's relatively light. It'll give you those weights. I haven't really tested this out. Let's see if the changes it can post. Nope. That's not the change. So if anybody knows what is new in 2018 for the Wingsung 698, please let me know. So I enjoy the nib. I seem to be on a roll. The Delight nibs were also very wet. So this one just works well. So now we're going to compare this against the fine nib that's in the black and gold pen. Now you can see there's a substantial difference. It's almost like half the width or even less than half the width. But this is also smooth, but not as smooth as the medium. I mean, that's a fine point on there, and that you do feel it against the paper. So let's just put that third pen I have, which I think has a medium nib, and I think I swapped it in there, but let's see how it looks. I had to do some priming, and the nib wrote fine yesterday, so I think I've had an issue with this nib, which I don't have with the other medium nib. This is much softer and much wetter. So it's not the same nib. I mean, when it writes, it's really nice. I mean, does it open up a little bit? Yeah, it opens up a little bit, but it is really, really, really wet. This is Robert Oster Deep Sea, one of my favorite dark blue-green inks. So where are we on this pen? So I've never really rated these. I'm going to give it a 9.1 with this nib in it. It's a consistent writer. Like I said, I've had one inked up for almost a year, and it's been very, very consistent performer. But the clear one with the soft medium nib in it is certainly not a consistent performer. So this is a hit or miss thing, but I swapped the nib, and I'm not going to use that as a way to evaluate or rate the pen. The piston works extremely well. It feels good in the hand. It has a nice solid feel, a good sized section on it. So the pen still is a winner from my perspective. And any person who follows Chinese pens would be remiss if they didn't have one of these. It comes in a lot of varieties now. I'm certain you can find a color combination that suits your fancy and one that'll float your boat. So we reached the end of this video. Thank you for watching. May you have many great, interesting, thought-provoking pen experiences. Enjoy this wonderful world of the variety, the nibs, the inks, the pens, the papers. So until the next video, this is the end for now. Bye. That is one dark green ink.